What a good idea. Resting after exertion. Why didn't I think of that sooner? When I watch my dog, I learn a lot. She has this really special place that she loves to run around in a park near our house. We walk up there and I let her off leash and she takes off running and she runs around and around and around in these crazy dog circles with absolute abandon and joy. It's a beautiful thing to watch. She goes and goes and goes and then all of a sudden she goes plop and she rests. Pacing is exactly that. It's exactly how it sounds. It's taking time to make sure that you're spending your energy according to what you have. You're not overdoing it. If you do exert yourself, you take some time to rest and recharge. Pacing has become a cornerstone of getting over chronic fatigue syndrome, and it's getting some traction and attention by conventional medical doctors as well. Dr. Sarah Myhill in the United Kingdom has done a really good job with incorporating this in her program for people with chronic fatigue syndrome. She has this saying, for those people who suffer from chronic fatigue syndrome, if they continue to do boom and bust, they will never get over their chronic fatigue. Those are pretty strong words, but they have some truth to them. Now, I always say you should never say never or ever, so I think there's some wiggle room in there. But still, pacing is very, very, very important. If boom and bust has been a part of your way of life, you're not alone. Most people with chronic fatigue have gotten here from overdoing. Even when they had energy, they just learned how to push and push and push beyond their natural limits. It's not something that we're really taught very well in this culture, which is to slow down and take a break when we need it. And then if you are suffering from chronic fatigue, it's like you're just in energy debt. You feel so poor, like you don't have enough energy. And as soon as you get just a little bit, you want to spend it right away because you don't know if you're ever going to get any the next day. I understand that. I felt the same way. One of my patients who suffers greatly from chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia, she would spend weeks in bed with pain. And every once in a while, she would get a little burst of energy, enough that she could go downstairs and she would do the dishes and the laundry. And she was so excited when she could cook a little bit of extra food. And it was such a good day for her that she would do just a little bit more. But then she would pay for it. And the next week, she was back in bed again. This is not the way to heal. What we need to do is exert some extra control on ourselves and hold back just a little bit of energy. It's just like a financial advisor would advise you. If you were given $1,000, you wouldn't blow all of that money or spend extra. You would spend that for what you need, and then you would save some for a rainy day. You need to do the same thing with your energy. So let's do a little assessment and see where you are on the scale of pacing. So a 10, you are totally rocking it. A 10, you are so good at pacing. You know how much energy you're going to have in a day. You can plan ahead for events in the future and know that you're going to have enough energy to handle that. Or a 1, you are crashing all the time. You're having a really hard time just getting it through the day, and you never know when you're going to have more energy. And if you do, you spend it immediately. If you're anywhere below an 8, I suggest you incorporate some of the tips I'm going to go through right now for you. All right, so here are some strategies for all of your doers out there. And I know that's how you got into this situation. And for all of you perfectionists, yes, I expect for you to do this pacing perfectly. All right, so first off, what you need to do is you need to get really honest. You need to have honesty with yourself about what is. What is for you right now? And I get this can be hard. When I first realized where my energy was the second time I crashed, I cried. It was hard to realize that I couldn't do everything that I wanted to do. I get it. So you need to be that honest with yourself about really what is for you right now, because that's the key for you to get better. The next thing is to realize that accepting what is actually is where the peace comes in. Sure, there are the tears, as mine are showing up right now, in memory of this. The tears come, but after that, when we accept what is, there is a peace that comes there. And from there, we can create a very valuable strategy for ourselves where we can get better. We fight ourselves a lot with chronic fatigue. We resist the acceptance that it's there. We want to keep going. We want to hide it from others. But it's there and it's real, and you need to acknowledge that in order to heal. From accepting what is, you can create a schedule that actually is supportive for you. When I crashed with chronic fatigue, the second time I was working full time and it just wasn't working anymore. I had to slow down. So I rescheduled my life completely. I started seeing patients in the morning, went home at lunchtime, took a nice long nap with my dog, woke up, and then I did my charts. It was as if I had 2 separate days. And most people had no idea what I was going through because I looked great in the morning. Like many of you who suffer from fatigue, people say, "Hey, you look great. What do you mean you don't feel well?" But the thing is that I had a hard stop in my body. It was like I was going to turn into a pumpkin at midday, and I needed to go home and rest. And it was so much better for me. This was a huge turning point in my getting better, is when I allowed myself to change my schedule to support my body for where it was. So what is it in your life that you may need to make a radical change? And this was a radical change for me to accept the fact that I had to stop every single day, 7 days a week, and lie down for 2 hours was massive. But it was one of the big keys to get me feeling better. What is it for you? Energy saving. So again, this is where you want to think of that accountant in your mind advising you as if this was money. How would you treat your energy? Would you blow it all at once? Would you spend it in one day, or would you allocate different sections of it? And this is a little bit where your thinking needs to switch, because if you are in energy poverty, you're like somebody that doesn't have any money at all, like a little child that it doesn't have anything. If it's thrown just a little bit of something, it runs to the store and buys a candy bar instead of buying something that might be more substantial. When you're in energy poverty, it's a little bit like the same thing. You spend it because you don't trust that you're going to get more. But what if you thought more like an investment banker? What if you thought about it like somebody who already knows that they live in abundance and they have plenty? What if you thought about like that? Then would you rest today if you knew that was going to definitely, for sure, make you better for tomorrow? I think it would. So begin to think about it in a slightly different way. From this, create lists of things that bring you joy that you can do now with the energy that you have. And you get extra bonus points if there's some sort of artistic endeavor in here. Because actually doing creative projects, sorting your photos, drawing paintings, doodling, anything that is creative really uses a different part of the brain, and that is healing as well. So create a list of 5 things that you can do now with your energy that, again, brings you joy. And here's the secret. Pacing is not just for people who are getting through illness. High performers in the top 1% of their field, they all pace themselves. They take breaks every hour, they take breaks every day, they take breaks every week, every month, and every year. So as you begin to learn how to really pace yourself so you can heal from your chronic fatigue, you're going to be 100% in alignment and already have all the structure set up so that you can manifest the dreams that you want. It goes against our modern culture to pace ourselves, but it goes with nature, and nature always wins.